All right, so we are learning square roots, exponents. What? No, I don't need that. You need to upload that. No, yeah, you upload it onto the website.
We didn't even need to move back.
You know what I'm talking about? Shh. Go to online donations, the website. I can see it all on the platform. Thank you, sir. Okay, so if we're taking the square root of something with an even power, an even exponent, the square root will be gone if we divide the exponent by 2. For example, x to the 14th power, if we square root the x to the 14th, it's equal to x to the 7th. And then we went into a lot more explanation of how a radical is actually, the square root actually has a little 2 there. We don't need to know that to get through today. So, for example, though, what if I had the square root of a to the, I don't know,
6.
40th?
Why didn't do that?
What do we do with the 40?
I have an idea. Divided by 2.
Funny kids. It becomes a to the 40 over 2, which is a to the 20th.
This is easy. Can we do
Good.
this?
It's gonna get a little bit trickier. Trust me.
You said that last time too, man.
Yeah. All right, odd rule. Okay, fortunately for us, well, unfortunately for us, odd numbers are not divisible by 2. Right? If I had the number 3, could you divide it by 2 and have it come out cleanly? No. Same is true for every odd number. But fortunately, every odd number is how far away from an even? 1. It's 1 away, right? So if we have the square root of, here's a quick example, the square root of x to the 15th. Okay, 15 is clearly odd and not divisible by 2. But it is equal to 14 plus 1.
What the sigma?
What is 14 plus 1 equal?
15, but what do you say?
Okay, my point is this. We don't even write this one there.
see.
I'll use a different color.
I can't see.
But if we multiply together, you remember from the sum rules yesterday or the day before that we would add the 14 and the 1 to get x to the 15. Here's my point. I can't divide it all by 2, but I can divide most of it by 2. In fact, 14 of them. So this is x to the 7th. And this is just your leftover. And every odd exponent will have a leftover under the radical. I can't divide that one by 2, so it stays under the radical. Yeah.
I understand, Kenny.
Okay. 14 plus 1 is 15. I have a total of 15 x's under a square root. If I expanded this, I'd have to write x times x times x times x 15 times. Right? 14 of them are there. The extra one is right there because it's an odd number. That 14 is almost all the rest of them, and it's even. So we can use the even rule against it and get x to the 7th, just like we did on this problem. But x to the 15 has 1 extra, and that one has to stay under the radical because you can't divide it by 2.
Mr. Vasto, this is easy.
Fantastic. Here's the generic rule just so you have it. If you have the square root of some quantity to an odd number, it'll equal to the even number 1 below it and 1 extra.
Oh, yes.
The even number being 1 less than the odd. I'm not going to give a formal equation, but that's good enough. I think you guys understand. The even number is the 1 less from the odd you had. And that's true of all even numbers.
Yes.
Or all odd numbers.
Did we do a delta math now?
No. No. But I will give you the most weighted test question that you'll have on our next test. You'll see it for the first time today.
Is it hard?
Yes.
Can I see it?
Everyone will. I literally just said that you're all going to see it, an example of it today. There's going to be a question that you're going to have to not only work it out, but you're going to have to explain it. In fact, it's a question that myself and Mrs. Kitchen will grade. So we'll just go into the computer program, look at it, and we'll use a rubric and give you the number of points that you've earned. You'll have to work out the problem, get the right answer, and provide a written explanation of every step you're doing. It'll be worth a minimum of 2 test questions, which if there are about 20, which we've kind of had about 20 questions most of our tests, that's about 10 points. But I'm letting you know in advance.
How sweet.
A lot of advance. Good. All right.
Wait.
What? You're not done writing?
No, I was trying to figure out what that was.
Let's go. Write faster.
Okay, Joe.
Make it happen.
Where? Oh my Sigma.
Oh, wait, I am done writing.
Oh gosh! Didn't you ever watch that snail? He was slow and then became fast.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Try number 1.
I thought it was the guy from Zootopia.
Kinsley, number 1. What'd you get? What's the letter? X. And then what's the exponent? 2. So if you half it, you get x squared, half that exponent. Very good. Number 2, Nico, what do you get?
Y. And I think it's 4.
Half of 8 is 4. Good job. Okay. Here we've got something introduced. It's a little bit trickier. Some of this is not underneath the radical.
Let me take a guess.
So you don't need to do anything with this part. But notice, each time we simplify one of these square roots, the radical on some of it is gone. Leave my chair alone. Like, seriously, I'm a snail's fart away from giving you silent lunch.
What?
That is recorded.
What?
I said snail fart.
What is that?
Oh my gosh.
This close. Really close. This close.
It's about this close.
This kid's driving me nuts.
Follow me on TikTok.
This kid's driving me nuts. You know, I put you in front so I can make sure you learn, but I think I'm just punishing myself. Okay. So here, that part is even. We can half that exponent. What's half of 16?
8.
It is. It is 8. Okay. Correct. Correct. You got it. Correcto. So look, here we have 2 components that are outside of the square root now. You've got the x squared and the w to the 8th power. They're multiplied together. The understood operation with the things in front of the radical and the radical itself is multiplication. So our final answer is x squared w to the 8th.
That's all I had to do?
Correct. That's why I wanted you to make a guess.
You Sigma kitty.
Okay. Now, if I just asked you, focus. If I just asked you what is the square root of 8 to the 8th, you would half the 8. What do you get?
4.
I think I got this one right.
So a chi. For the b to the 12th, if I half that exponent, what do you get? What is the exponent? It's 12. You divide by 2, you get 6.
Yay!
Oops, I did not do that
We
correctly.
did it. We did it. Yay.
I said it and I didn't do it. A to the 4th, because half of that is 4, half of that is 6. Did any of these have an odd exponent?
No.
No, if they did have an odd exponent, we would have to have left something left over under the radical. But since they divided cleanly, 8 divided by 2 is just a 4. 12 divided by 2 is just a 6. There was no leftover. Okay, so there was no square root at the end. Next set.
get it right.
These ones are a little bit trickier. This is why we have to have a calculator. Where are your calculators?
Wait, on which
If you can't produce a calculator right now, each person that doesn't produce a calculator, I'm contacting home to let them know you need to. I did that first block. You will not pass the test over this material if you don't have your scientific calculator. Yeah.
You contacted my mom and tell her to buy me a calculator?
Because you lost the one from the media center?
No, because it's old.
You broke the one from the media center. Let's translate it correctly. Because you were irresponsible and broke the one that was given to you by the school. Now your mom has to buy one and she has to pay back the school.
Or she could just pay back the school.
Well, it was in my book bag and somehow it broke.
What?
Nico probably sat on it.
Or you were swinging it around, being a ding dong.
Hey, we were on the golf court, right, honey?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, because the golf
All right, guys, I gotta teach. Okay, so the number parts. This is the part you gotta get correct because you're still never gonna plug letters into your calculator. But we can evaluate. This is a two-part problem. You've got the square root of 9, and we've got the square root of w to the 14. This can be done on the calculator.
What is it, 3?
Well, do it on your calculator. You don't have to ask me. You can figure it out.
I think it's 3.
But there's no W.
Caleb, what's he talking?
Okay, let's try again. The number part goes in the calculator. You are never going to plug the letter in the calculator. And I think there could be a letter, a W, I don't know. Stop making the weird noises.
It's Y, Z,
Nico.
A, B, C.
Don't talk. Okay, here's the deal. It's 9:27. You're not going to blurt out unless I call on you for the next 10 minutes. If you do, I'm putting you in silent lunch, and this is not an emotion thing. I can't teach with the constant interruption. I want 10 minutes of you not talking unless you want to provide an answer and you raise your hand. Okay, no hands. Half of this is just w to the 7. So you should have gotten 3. You can half this part by our even rule and say w to the 7.
You can't put that part in. You just told him you knew.
She tried to put the letter in.
Yes. No, I didn't put the letter.
You can't do
You
that.
can't put that part. Okay, why can't you put
This is a 2-part problem. You take the 2
You're not gonna do that. You're just putting.
and then look at the x to the 24 and think about it. This is a letter, you use the even rule. This is a number, you use your calculator.
I have to go home. I have a headache.
Please plug in the number part so the class can have the answer.
Is that x to the 14?
That's a 24. So type 2 square root 100. What'd you get?
20.
I'm asking for Kinsley here. Okay, hold on. Use that one. Use that one. Because that 2's in the wrong place. It does something else. Okay. Alright, so we get 20, and then you half that exponent. Zoe, what do you get when you half 24?
Oh.
Yeah, so it's x to the 12th power, and that's our final answer. Why would you? We're done. We're done.
I didn't do anything.
I don't want you to interact. There's nothing going on here. All right. Odd rules. Remember the odd rule. Let's go back to the odd rule. Look at it real quick. We had an x to the 15. Every odd number is 1 away from an even. So you put that extra one underneath that radical. And then you half the part that can be halved. All right. I want you should be able to do or make an honest attempt at 7, 8, and 9 I would expect this to be a challenge. If you get 7 and 8, 9 knocked out, try 10. I'll definitely be going over all of them. All right. Multiple blocks, I've seen this. So it's okay if you're making this mistake, you're thinking, you're trying to do the rule, but you don't actually divide the 3 by the 2. It's not even. It is actually factual to say this is 1.5. But I can't count that. You're never going to see that. To apply the odd rule, you want to make it even. So you know there's going to be a square root x, that extra 1 is the final answer. And now it's a 2, and you half that.
All right.
The answer is x root x. Same thing here. There will be an x in the answer because that's odd. You half the even part, so half of 6. X to the third root x. Every time you have an odd numbered exponent, something will be left under the radical. What do I do first here? One person, raise your hand. Aiden. Well, what's the rule say about odd ones? What's going to be in the answer? Every odd one has 1 extra, right? What do I do with the extra? There was an extra x here. Where did it go? Does anybody know where the extra x goes?
Subtracted.
I mean, we do that, but where's the extra x go? Where? Goes under the square root symbol. So we have an extra y here. That extra one goes underneath the square root in the answer. So now I have an even number. What do we do with the even number under the radical?
Divide by 2, which is 5.
This is odd. So what does that mean for what's under the square root? Huh? The exponents on number 10 are odd. What does that tell us?
You have to subtract 1 to make it even.
What do I do with the extra? What do I do with the extra? Well, if I make that a 2, where'd the other number go? They go under the square root, guys. The extra m goes under the square root. The extra n goes under the square root. So there's already this guy in front. This one, if I divide that by 2, gives me another m. They're both to the first power. I half that, we get n to the 6th. Fortunately, yesterday we studied what happens here. What do you do with those 2 m's? And what do you do with the exponents? You add them. Good job, Maddie. Well, she knew it all. All right, any questions up to 10?
It's not
I don't-
doing
I-
this.
Huh? It shouldn't take this long. You're not wrong. There were constant interjections. It's hard to teach. Okay. Take your calculator. Do the square root of the number. Type it in your calculator. The square root of the 81. Yes. Do this in the calculator. You get 9. This one's odd. What do I do with the extra b since that's odd, Aiden? Aiden's gonna help me. It's the same question I just gave you. Don't look at me like you don't know. Put it under the thing. Square root. The extra one goes under the square root. Now they're both even, so I half that exponent, and I half that exponent, and we're done.
Was that a 93?
I hear it.
Jude,
I don't have a phone.
you have earbuds. Somebody does.
I have earbuds, but I don't have a phone. I use them in biology class,
Yeah, but you're not in biology class.
but I'm not using them.
We're hearing the noise.
Chromebook?
Eric?
Yeah, it's
Oh, it stopped.
It stopped. It was his Chromebook.
So randomly just stopped dead.
Go like this.
It was his Chromebook. In his desk. Look.
It was just his Chromebook making noise.
Yeah.
Miss Kitty, what's in his right ear?
He's got an earbud in. Okay. All right. Well, you know what that means. All right. The square root of 28. Do this part on your calculator.
Dude.
Everyone type that into calculator, please. Hold on. Just the square root of 28. Plug that in your calculator, please.
Square root.
Yeah, plug it in your calculator. I want everybody to do it. Hold on. Plug it in your calculator. So the question is, how do you use that? It gives you this, but we need to figure out how to write our answer. Okay? That's out of the radical, that's in. So no matter what, part of our answer is going to have our square root, part of it won't. So this is what I would do. I'd put the 2 down, leave some space, and then write a square root, and you know at least the 7 will be there. Maybe more. What's the exponent on the x?
1.
It's odd. Can I half it?
Yes. Yes.
No, you can't.
It is the leftover. The y has a leftover. The z does not. If I half the exponent on the y, you get y. If I half the exponent on the z, we get z to the 3rd. That one gave us that answer. This one gave us that answer. The 2 went there, and the root 7 went there. The extras, these extra things, are why we have the x and the y.
Wait, are these arrows?
Where is there 7?
The 7 came from the 28.
The 28, yeah, the 28 had a 7, goes under the radical. The x was not out. It wasn't big enough to half, so it stays under the radical. The y to the 3rd had an extra 1. The y goes under the radical. Everything else was even.
Like, if you want to, you could like break it